Okay guys, take two. Let's try this again. Okay. Hopefully it'll work better for us this time. Okay. Let's see. Hello. Let me know if you're there. Okay. You guys hear me? Let's hope this goes better and we'll start again. Sorry, it's freaking out on me. Okay. Hi Caitlin. Hi Valiant. Great. I'm so glad this is working better and that hopefully it's not lagging. Okay. So this is what I had done last time, where I had gotten started and finished before we had to kind of cut it short. So I will kind of start again, that way if you missed anything or if it was lagging too much, you guys can hear and see. So I'm glad that things are looking better. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys how to break down your drawings so they don't scare us so much. They're not so difficult to put it onto your paper, because sometimes I've had people ask me, well, how do I get it to stay on the page? Sometimes I make it too large or too small for the page that I'm drawing. So I'm going to show you guys some techniques that I have kind of learned from my professors and just kind of taken and implemented for myself. I use shapes to define how large and how small and where things are going before I actually draw what it is I'm drawing. And here Caitlin so graciously gave me some pictures of her guinea pigs, and they're so cute. So we're going to draw these, and I'll show you how we take it from being basic shapes to becoming an actual drawing, which you can make into a cartoon drawing, or you can create a real, kind of a hyper-realistic drawing. So I did this one first, so I think I'll try... Let's try them again just so you can kind of see what I did. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I can answer those for you. So the first thing that we want to do is look at our photo. I don't know if you can see it here. And we want to look at what shapes we're seeing. So here in his head, we're seeing kind of an egg shape. So I want to decide how large I want my guinea pig, and we're going to go kind of about this same size. So we're going to draw our egg shape. It's okay if you have multiple lines, I do all the time. And you just draw very lightly. You're barely touching the paper. You're not pushing here really hard. See how you get those lines there. I like to actually keep my pencil loose in my hand. You can see how I kind of move, and I hold my hand back a little bit further, and that gives me a lighter touch and more mobility. And I want to move through my shoulder and not through my wrist or my hand, because then I'm gonna block myself in. Whereas if I go in through my shoulder, I'm gonna have a lot more control and be able to get those shapes that I really want. Okay, so we're making that egg shape. And then back here, I noticed his body is kind of upside down heart. So his back is slightly lower than the top of his head, which is here. So we want to kind of come in here. And it's okay if it's not looking exactly like our picture yet. We're just getting our shapes in where we're kind of mapping it out. How big is this going to be? We only see a little bit of that foot, so I'm going to give him kind of an oval foot here. And then usually for the arms and limbs of people and animals, I use cylinders. So I kind of block that in there. And it's got kind of the foot there, and then there is a little bit of a foot here. We can't really see it much from the hay there. And then we have our ears. This one kind of comes off of here, there, and almost straight across. It kind of goes up at a slight angle. That's going to be the base of our other ear, which is a triangle, and then at the tip of his ear it's kind of an upside down triangle here. Okay, so you can see how, and we're just laying things in, and I do it with this red color erase pencil so that when I go over with my graphite pencils, I can see the difference of where I was and where I need to go, whether things are off, like if an eyeball is just a little bit lower or higher than it needs to be, then I can see that and I can fix it, and it's makes things a lot easier. And that eye is almost, this one eye here, it's kind of at a slight diagonal from that ear, and it's just part of his eye. It's gonna bugs out there. Kind of reminds me of bedtime stories with Bugsy. We used to call our daughter Bugsy because she had really, really big eyes and she was just so tiny. And then let's see how our eye on the other side is almost straight across. Okay. It's going to be straight across there. And I'm not going to put it in just yet. I want to put in the gray here, and I'm going to look on the outside. I'm going to actually follow the white instead of the gray. So this kind of comes here, and the top of the nose, we got two lines here, which if you look where they are, they're above this foot here, so that's where those are, and they're just kind of little straight lines. So we're just simplifying our shapes, and that comes out almost over here. And then we're looking at our shape here, kind of comes down and then across here and up and around here. And over here we've got a shape like this. Okay, and then that helps us find our eye here. So we want it just on this line that we have here. I'm going to draw a circle, and it points down slightly. It's this center of our eye, and just so slightly kind of points up on the back side. Very, very subtle. All right. Now we can kind of go in and define more of what's going on. We know how big we want him. We've got him the right shape and size. And so we can go in and say, well, that kind of doesn't dip that way. So we're going to go with our 2B pencil. And his head kind of rounds here. This part is where you can decide, do I want to make him a cute little cartoon or do I want to draw him very realistic? And I'm probably going to draw more on the realistic side, or maybe I should do this one more cartoony since I did that one more realistic. And you can see a little bit of both. It doesn't have to be exact. Nobody else is going to look at it and say, that line is wrong, you know. So it's okay if it's not perfect. You can change things. We have our artistic license to change things to make them look better than they are, because even in real life, things don't always go exactly as they should. So I'm going to do this eye, and we're going to get our little highlight and color that in. And I can see a part of his nose is coming out here. So we want to get that in. And I'm not as good at doing cartoons, so I do more. Okay. I like having a couple different erasers here. I have a kneaded eraser and my Staedtler. This one gets out really hard lines, and this one just kind of will lighten things up for me. And I can make it into very fine points to get into maybe some areas that I wouldn't be able to get to with our big eraser. And this is here, and then this part of the eye here. So those are planes on our drawing. You can see that comes down. He's got these pudgy cheeks. And his cheek over here actually comes out a lot more than what we had originally showed, and that's okay. We have the room for that. I'm going to make his nose here. So it's kind of hard to tell. We have some hair going on here that comes through the ear and down this way. So I'm just going to create little lines to indicate hair here. And this cheek comes way out here. Isn't that cute? You guys still seeing everything okay? Okay. So because we blocked in our shapes and started with the whole shape instead of just the face or just the eye, we're able to see that it is able to fit on our page. And we can keep going. Our eye. Let's do our other eye because we got one done. It can kind of look funny if we leave one undone. And we have our highlight here. This part is where I kind of, when I'm doing a little bit more of the details, is when I go from here to here on my pencil, and I get a lot closer because I really want to get into those details. I'm not trying to get those big shapes. I want the small details. I can see. What I need. And I'm not going to make too much hair because we're kind of trying to make him a little bit of a cartoon. I think we'll try. Try to make him a cartoon. So maybe I want less hair here. And these big beady eyes. And go along with this shadow here. And he does have white here, so I want to make sure I don't forget that. And then I can go in and block in that color. And do the same thing over here. And in our ear, I actually found it doesn't come all the way down here. It's going to come over here like this. And we'll make this a big fun ear here and have the hair going in there. I'll finish filling that in. And here. I keep going back and forth to from making him realistic to a cartoon. Like I said, I'm not used to doing cartoons too much, but I'm trying to give it a go. Here's his paws. We'll make those just tiny little shapes here. See that? And then we'll go back here and give him a little tiny tuft of hair there. Forgot this whole side of his face is gray as well. This one's darker because it's in the shadow of the ear, and then we'll lighten things up here. Cute little guy. What's his name, Caitlin? It's cute. Erase some of that red there, and we're just going to go up. This is where I'm going to kind of go back to a little bit more on my pencil. Not going to be here. I'm going to be back a little bit more. And go down. I can't see if he's got a fold for his leg here or if it's just underneath. That's what it looks like. So we're not going to do that. I'm gonna leave him like that. There is our little guinea pig. Never drawn a guinea pig. This was fun. He's really cute. And then once he's drawn out, and you don't have to always fill in those spots, you can go in afterwards and do a line drawing and either keep them as a line drawing, or you can add color or do watercolors over top. I would maybe transfer this sketch into my watercolor book and then try painting him. That way, if I maybe make a mistake or I like the sketch, I don't have to ruin it. I can keep it and just transfer it. And I do that by using a graphite transferring paper. And put that in to a book like this here. And then you can just transfer the sketch in here. That's what I do with my really large drawings. I will sketch them out on regular paper because if you erase too much on your watercolor paper, it will damage it. So I sketch on regular sketch paper first, and then I'll transfer it to my watercolor paper when it's a large scale. If it's just small little 5x7s, I'll just do some quick guidelines like this on my paper, so I don't have to erase it. And you can actually use your kneaded eraser for that. I just soften it up, and then you can go over it and it will lighten up your sketch. So you can draw over top of it, keep the lines that you need but don't have a lot of pencils showing through. So there's a lot of different things you can do with that. Do you guys want to see any other animals perchance? I had a few others I thought might be fun. Or what do you guys think? I was looking at, there's a cute little dog. Or there's a fox. Let's see. There's a bird. I thought I had another bird in here. There he is. We have another bird. Let me show you really quick something that maybe just a quick sketch of how I would lay out maybe this fox. I got this picture from Pixabay, which is a royalty-free site, and you can, I'm just using it for this purpose. I probably won't do a full thing, it'll just be my sketchbook, but I just want him to be small here. So I'm going to go in, and for his head I'm going to create a circle, and for his nose kind of a triangle here. I don't know if you can see this, let me know and I'll try and make it darker. And his ears are triangles here. Here. Okay. Then his body and his neck kind of connect. So I usually will go in and create large circles where the mass of his body is. So on this, He's got his shoulders and the mass of his body here, and then his rump kind of turns. So I'm going to follow that neck, see where that spine is. All the way down to that tail, and I found his rump is going to be here. It's kind of overlapping, and it's slightly lower if I follow that. Then I can pull out his legs, again doing cylinders. There's the top part of his leg, and here's the bottom, and his paws are in the snow. We don't see his right leg other than in between, so we want to grab this leg first, and you can see it goes up. That thigh kind of comes up on here. Again, using a large cylinder. This one's going to be a little bit wider because the leg there gets really wide. And then the foot and the back part of that leg. So you can see how I'm just using shapes at this point. I haven't really defined much of our fox, even though he's starting to look like a fox because of those shapes. And if you go out and look at anything, you're going to see those shapes. You just have to look at it really closely and pay attention to those things, and you'll see them. They're there. So his tail is kind of bushy, and I want to do that first so that I get this second back leg correct. This one is a long rectangle, like that. And is actually higher, so I got that wrong. It's okay. It's kind of close, and then I can see that front leg even higher here. I don't see anything else. So there, I've blocked out my fox. Now I can tell you, if I want it into this shape or this size of paper, then I've got it right. Or if I want it smaller or larger, then I can go from there. And I can decide whether his nose is too long or too short. He's actually got quite a bit of hair here. So we'll take our 2B pencil and define a little bit more of our shapes. So instead of being round, the top of his head is a little bit more flat. And then we have a diagonal coming off of that eye, and his snout rounds and kind of comes around there. Fill that in, and so we're just looking at the shapes, This helped us get our placement, and now we can go in and start defining where our fox is. And his eye. I want to make sure it's about, okay, so here our eye eye is going to be about right here. It's hard to see when he's so tiny. Start with that, and then here go back on that ear and you can make him fluffy as you want if you want to do that. I really like the fluff that's coming off of here. It kind of looks different right now because I think I haven't put in those orange and white. You guys see that? Appreciate you guys sticking around for me today and as I figure things out. Okay, I can see through this fur how this leg is starting to appear. There's the snow in that. And his body. Coming off of here. Let's see. I think I might have a small visitor who's supposed to be in bed. We're going to bed. Okay, so here's where I'm really just defining my shapes of what I got right, where I got it wrong, and you don't have to stick to your initial sketch of where things are. This just helps us really lay things out and find where they are. So his thigh pops out here a little bit more, and here. And those red tones and all of those, I will just kind of define where they would be, and then if I were to go in color, that's when I would do that. Or if I decided to do it in black and white, then I could lay it in that way. Here's the top of his foot. There. Don't really care for how his mouth is looking at this moment, but it's okay. Get this leg that's back there. And that one here. Which I will also cover. Okay. So if I erase some of that red, be able to see him a little bit more. And here I think is where I can see a lot of this. He's got a lot of fur going on up here. That's probably why it's throwing me off. It's darker here. And down through here. There. I like how he's looking better there. I think that definitely helped. And I did forget our little whiskers, I think. Our little guy over here. He had some whiskers. Like that. Sorry. It's driving me crazy. And after you kind of finish defining your fox, so for me this would be just a simple sketch to maybe figure out if I want to do it as a larger fox or just for fun, for practice in my sketchbook, which I do like to do. I'll just show you kind of what I would do briefly next. I would just do a really quick color mock-up to check the colors that I want. Putting them on the side. You know, what are my lights? Where are the lightest colors that he has in his coat? To what would be the darkest color? Sometimes I do use what I already have in here. So he's got that really beautiful red that has some blue in it. It's that beautiful red, and then we've got that light yellowy orange. And of course white, we leave the white of the paper. And he does have some brown. It's actually not as black as it appears. I think it's more a warm brown. So I would just kind of give myself some swatches and maybe just, so my black that I would normally make is cad yellow, or cad red light, sorry, and French ultramarine blue. If you mix the two together, just right, you'll get a very nice dark, almost black. See that? And if I wanted to go more black, I can add yellow, but I like this blue and red here. Actually talked about it in one of my videos. I kind of compared Payne's Gray, neutral tint, and then my own mix here. And I still, above all, prefer this mix. I like the other ones, and I have used them for some things, but I prefer this. seeing as they're drying how muted this has become, partly that's because of our paper, I will actually add a little bit more life. I'm going to use that same CAD red light and some CAD yellow light. Let's add more of an orange. Not that bright orange. So then we can go in and define a little bit more where we would want those to go. Defined all of that. Go into just to find a little bit where I want those. Kind of goes into a brown back here. Get it darker. And go in, I really like this orange. That's how I generally do my sketchbooks and testing things out. We're going to have some of that orangey color come in here. Just because I want to play with that color a little bit more. And this one. Okay, so you can kind of get an idea of what I would do and the stages I would go through and how I would develop my painting and how I go through and start a sketch and really just block everything in so you can see everything and make sure it's the right size that you want in comparison to other things. And you know, if I even had more than one figure, I would do the same thing with all the figures. I go in and just do shapes for everything. That way I can see before I really start going in with details if somebody's going to be too small or too large. And it really helps me to save time and make sure it's accurate and exactly how I want it before I go in with those details and create havoc for myself and have to redo and get frustrated. So it saves a lot of the frustration, and then you can further go in and, you know, draw guidelines of making sure the eyes are straight and things like that. Like I did with the back here, I drew where his spine was, and that helped me align his back a lot more. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I would love to do this with you guys again, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!